Welcome to Rig by Design. I have been patiently waiting for Jason to join us today. I guess he's running a little bit late. I do know over in Michigan around this time, sometimes their school is taken out and he has some situation to deal with his children. Um, Currently, did you know that the projection for Social Security Trust Fund to run out is projected to run out, depending on which study that you read, is 2023. Oh, excuse me, 2033 and 2034. Um, that doesn't mean that you're going to stop receiving. Who's that? And Cami, that's Frodo. Frodo's in the background. I use Frodo as my muse when I'm writing my impeachment series, whether or not it's an impeachment of Congress, um, impeachment of SCOTUS, or even an impeachment of the president. I always include Frodo in my series. He gives me the terminology that I'm looking for. It's back over into Social Security. Right now, um, it doesn't mean that our checks are actually going to get cut when in 2033, but it means that we will not have the funds in the trust fund. Now, the trust fund, people think that, okay, when we have the trust fund, exactly when I'm due to get it, I never figure I see. Yeah, Cami, I know. I'm concerned about that as well. Besides them keep increasing the age, besides them keep increasing the age of Social Security, I believe Gen X, I think we're the age of retirement now is 67 and a half. I'm not sure, but it's around there. Anyway, going back to the trust fund, and welcome, Frodo. Going back to the trust fund is actually operates as an IOU. And so for the last 50 years, Congress has been taking from the trust fund in order to fund wars and a variety of other things. And what they do is when they take from the trust fund, they actually put not money back in there, they put an IOU in there. So they take the money and they put an IOU in there. Well, by 2033 or 2034, all that's going to be in the trust fund is a bunch of IOUs. And that's not acceptable. Welcome. Wow. The day that we are expecting Jason, we have 115 subscribers right now. So thank you for joining us. Anyway, boy, it's really hard to do this without a conversation. Originally, we were going to talk about Jason's situation of where he's in right now, because Jason is on Social Security disability, and he really wanted to kind of go over a little bit of that. But I do have something that I can discuss in regards to the Social Security. My older son, is currently on SSI. So he receives Social Security for being disabled. With that being said, SSI is for those who do not have any money, who've never contributed to Social Security. And Frodo's on top of my phone doing a dance right now, trying to get my attention. With that being said, he is an adult. He is currently 33 years old. He has a possibility of receiving DAC, D-A-C. DAC is a disabled adult child benefit that one is entitled to if their parents receive Social Security or if their step-parents receive Social Security. And so with me, what I ended up doing was, hi, Jason.
Sorry,
It's
I've had
okay.
I've had a very trying morning.
I've been talking about Social Security because
Oh
it's
yeah.
been one of the topics, and I was actually going over DAC right now. DAC is a disabled. adult child Social Security benefit. However, DAC is under different rules. And what they try to do with DAC, because I'm trying to move my son from SSI to DAC, what they do with DAC is the child would have to been disabled before the age of 20, before the age of 22.
Yep.
And that's pretty much the only requirement. Oh, the other requirement is that the child's parent or step parents must be receiving Social Security. And the big thing is with DAC is it doesn't have the same income thresholds as SSI. SSI has income thresholds. He's not even allowed to save $2,000.
Yep.
So SSI.
I
So
know
I
my sister receives Social Security because our father is retired. She's been disabled her whole life. She was born with cerebral palsy. Long story there,
long
but
story
um,
there. So
yeah.
what I'm trying to do is get my son onto DAC because it would actually be more beneficial. So he doesn't have to go through the same requirements as he does on SSI. Well, get this. You're going to love this one. Get this. DAC decided, not DAC, but the Social Security Administrator decided that no, he must qualify under the support one. So either he has to be adopted by his stepfather or we have to contribute to him 50% or more. And I informed the person, I said, that's not true. That's a different requirement. You're applying support requirement to a DAC thing. They have a different eligibility.
Yeah.
So the only way to go about it is I'm going to have to appeal and show them where it is. But they do this on purpose. They do it on purpose because they hope they wear
Hmm.
you out. Because
Yep.
DAC would pay him more money than what he currently gets on SSI. And that the bad news is upcoming in my next article because it's all written out. The bad news is these types of things they're going to be putting through AI. Now, if you're putting these rules, and even if administrators cannot understand the rules, um, imagine what AI is going to do.
Yep.
It's going to do an denial, automatic denial.
So when it comes to Social Security, everybody pays into Social Security. Um, for so you can obviously retire, right? If that's what you want to call it. Or in case you become injured while you're at work. One thing I've talked publicly about is many years ago, I was injured while at work. I've had two lower back surgeries. I've had neck surgery. I've got whole, big plate screws in my neck. I've had two hand surgeries here, one here, and foot surgery. Yeah, I mean, I'm healthy, but just not. It's hard for me to function physically throughout the day. Um, it took me 3 years of fighting, and my doctor, and I think we talked about this at the end of our thing last week was my doctor finally had to write them, and he did it again and asked them what part of totally and permanently do you not understand? And the part is, a lot of people believe disability has a look. It does not.
It does not.
Um, when it comes to my particular case, it was the nerve damage was so severe. I went and it took me 2 years. I went to every prominent neurosurgeon I could find. The top one here in my area was a doctor named Dr. Gracias. Um, I went to him, and he was the one that made me understand. Look, you're not going to get better. If you would have already been better. This was 2 years after, you know, and they did what I think it's called an EMG study on my legs, and the study results were that of what they would consider a 90-year-old bedridden man, and wondered how the hell I was even walking. I'm like, well, willpower, I guess. I don't know.
Mind
I
over
mean,
matter. Mind over
yep.
matter.
So now, fast forward, here we are under what's happening right now, I receive phone calls daily from this outsourced company that the Trump administration has hired, and I don't answer it anymore. But they'll leave a message. Hey, save your Social Security benefits for when you really need them. We're going to help you get back to work.
Yes,
So,
and
yeah,
that's
no,
really abstraction at its most, you
yeah,
know? And there's a catch-22. Let's say you do try to go back to work. Guess what they try to do is say, "See, he was able to
yep,
work."
yep,
And they'll make it even harder for you to apply for your benefits again.
yep. So
So
there's been times in my life where it was very difficult in the beginning. It still is difficult for me because um, I I'm not a sit still type of person. But my limits, physically before the accident were, I mean, I cut 55-pound blocks of dry ice all day. We're talking, 7, 8, 900 blocks of ice. That's how much, I was physically, um, pretty well off back then. And to go from that, um, on some days I couldn't even get out of bed, and I still have those days. Um, and I am a person that relies on, opioids. I have for the last, like, 8 years. Um, so there was that whole era, the opioid scare and shit. Um, it's like
imagine
the way
that.
I describe it to
Imagine
people.
being told that you cannot have your pain medication.
Oh, my
Be
doctor used me
Yeah,
as the guinea pig because and I did. I got off I was on, back then I was on a lot of different medications, Lyrica for the nerve pain, morphine and, Flexeril nerve, for
yeah,
the muscles. I
the
got off
muscles.
all
Yeah,
voluntarily. I told the doctor, "I don't want these no more." But I still need the pain medicine. And he asked me to explain why. And I said, "Well, when I wake up in the morning, I am in such extreme pain, and this is still true today. My legs are, how like um when you fall asleep on your arm, it goes really numb. It's really painful.
right.
Times times 10. That's how my legs feel every morning I wake up. I take my medicine. It's fast acting. I wait for it to work, and it's the equivalent of coming in from, 0-degree weather in your underwear and putting a warm blanket over you.
And I get it.
That's what it feels like. It's like, "Oh," so I can
But
function a little bit.
get this, what Social Security is trying to do, especially with Medicare, is trying to have the AI approve these medicines.
Yep, it's ridiculous. And Medicare costs the premiums every month went up again.
And on top of
Again.
that, they're getting the AI companies. I just read up on this. The AI companies are going to be receiving more money for denials,
Tired of it.
for denials.
I've just been so lately the thing about Social Security that really pisses me off, and holy shit, we got a lot of people in here today. Hi, everybody.
Yes.
Uh,
I was
uh,
like, where the
this
hell
is the
is
thing
Jason?
is 138 people. Okay, this is gonna piss you all off. All right, and I don't know if you discussed the Social Security cap. This year, the Social Security cap is like 174 something, 174,000, we'll round it down, whatever. So you pay into Social Security based on your employment on your first $174,000, meaning somebody that makes $250,000 a year, $1 million a year, $10 million a year, they only pay into the Social Security Trust Fund on their first $174,000. So if, like, my daughter who makes like 70 grand a year, if she has to pay into Social Security on every dollar she makes, but somebody who makes $250,000 a year or $200,000 a year or on up, they don't. And here's the kicker, they can still collect Social Security.
And they just increased it, by the way. It used to be 92,000.
No, it goes up every year. Last year was 168
Okay.
something. This year it's now 174. Before that, it goes up, depending on inflation is how they do it. But that's the thing that really, really pisses me off is they talk about Social Security going to run dry. all these fear tactics and shit. Well, if you
it
actually made people who, make a comfortable living, and I'm not saying like even millionaires and billionaires, you don't have to, you know, they should have to put in on every single dollar they earn, every single dollar. Whether you could, if you even brought that down to the fraction of a penny on some billionaires, I mean, it's simple math. Social Security will be
abso
there for
absolutely, but
forever.
what do you think that the system is actually gonna do that? Look at what they're doing. They're actually giving billionaires more handouts.
They want to
Uh,
privatize it.
right. They wanna privatize it, and so what they're doing right now is currently the trust fund is to run out in 2033, 2034, depending on the projections. And the
It's going to
reason
be
for
earlier
that,
now.
well, I heard the earliest right now is 2033.
Well, they're
Um,
not considering the fact of all the immigrants that have been deported.
I
Immigrants
don't
contribute to the Social Security Trust Fund when they work, and
they
they
contribute,
can't collect.
and they contribute more than the billionaires.
Yeah. I
The
seen, Oh, That's Rich did a video, and I looked it up. It's a study, and to break this study down really quickly, immigrants are more important to our economy than Republicans
absolutely,
as a whole. They
absolutely.
contribute more to our economy than Republican voters as a whole.
Yeah,
That's insane to me. That is
but it is gonna reach a cliff. If we
Yep,
continue on the path that we are on, it will reach a cliff. Um, and it's not because you didn't work hard enough or I didn't work hard enough. It's not because what we contribute. It is because Congress for the last 40 plus years has been borrowing from Social Security.
yep.
The
Ronald
trust
Reagan
fund,
said it best, and they use Social Security as the boogeyman. You still hear him today say it. It's 70% of what we spend every year, and it's not. Social Security has nothing to do with the national debt or deficit.
nothing. No,
Nothing.
it
It
has
has
to
nothing to
do
do
with
with balancing a budget. Nothing.
it does when they are taking IOUs, and that's what
Yep.
they're putting into the trust funds. IOUs. They're not putting cash, they're not putting any of that, they're putting IOUs. So eventually it comes to the point, yes, it's socialism for the billionaires.
Yep.
Eventually it comes to the point that we are paying back into it double the amount that we originally put in there due to what's happening. One thing, other systems work with Social Security, not a problem by having the trust fund there, by not taking from the trust fund. So that's what's happening. And that's why the projection date is 2033. This is the first time that we're actually in the negative.
I'm just This last week has been extremely hard. I've been with everything that's coming out, and um, I've been literally like on Facebook more fighting against all the bullshit they allow over there. And I'm just, but something, um, one of my mutuals said the other day in a video, it's really stuck with me. It really has, and the meaning behind it is just powerful to me, and that is, I would rather live in a morality of ashes than a system built on corruption and immorality, basically saying to burn it all down.
Yeah, you've seen
That's
Hunger Games, right?
Yeah,
Every day, I just think we're getting closer and closer to the Hunger Games. So I'm just over there. And we are living what I would describe as lived pressure. We're constantly under it. So I get where you're coming from.
and I'm a person that I can take a lot, and it's not everything that's coming at me. It's when it comes at me, I'm thinking, "Oh crap, what does this mean for my kids?" You know, I'm I'm going to be a grandfather again. What does this mean for my
Yes.
new grandfather? What does this mean for my new grandkid? That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, what's going to be here? We have, you know, these people that just they don't give a shit. There's maybe a handful of elected officials that truly do care and understand, but even they're shut down by the establishment. And
Well,
it
have we become a society that lacks empathy?
yeah, not all of us, but it's a society that, oh, there's another school shooting. What can I do? Oh, ICE killed another one. What can I do? Well, there's nothing I could do. I don't live there, you know?
We're numb, and we're becoming numb to all the chaos.
Yep.
I
And
think
that's the point.
yeah,
And that's the point.
and I think I read somewhere, it was somebody who made a comment that, yeah, 2 weeks, "Oh, no, we're outraged by it." For the first time it happens, we complete outrage. We're just
Mhm.
completely outraged, and then 2 weeks later, "Oh, it's not so bad. This is our normal." Then
Because it
another
doesn't affect them.
right, and then another, incident happens. "Oh my god, this is not the United States. This is not what happens here. This is not normal."
But it is.
Outrage, 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 and then 2 weeks later, "Oh, that's not that too bad." So it just it's like we are being trained.
Yep.
It is
I
the
call it installed propaganda. It's this, just like, when we talk about the election stuff, free and fair, safe and secure, free and fair, safe and secure. It's installed propaganda in your head because they regurgitate it over and over and over again. So your brain tells you, yep, trust me, it's free and fair, it's safe and secure. That doesn't happen. No, and that's what it is. And this comes
what
from both sides of the aisle.
well, look what just happened. Just yesterday, you're gonna love this one. Just yesterday, my husband sent it over to me. Who goes to Yahoo News anymore? That's where we're going now to find real news these days. We're going
Recently.
over onto Yahoo. We're going on to in order to find out what the hell is going on around here. So yesterday, Nebraska will be handing over sensitive voter data to the Justice Department after court loss.
How?
This happened just yesterday. Okay, so basically, they won the case to get the sensitive voting information.
Well, I had somebody comment on one of my videos that, I get them every now and then. Oh no, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be normal. And I'm like,
The day,
if you don't believe that the 2026 midterms, let's say the time gets here, right? And there's going to be some pushback from Democratic governors like mine here in the state of Michigan. They're not going to do it. What's going
I saw your
and
letter,
I'm
by the
starting
way,
to think more of is what's going to happen is they're going to call it, um, I was on that thought process that, and he still may, try to put out some bullshit executive order, right? We don't need them anyway because we're doing so good. Or there's too much chaos, insurrection act. We need to cancel the election, something like that. And most of the time I get, well, the Constitution.
I'm going to
And the
agree.
Constitution. He doesn't care about the Constitution.
Yeah,
So now
I
I'm
said the
thinking
same thing.
there's enough red states that if they have these clerks and at the state level, the governors declare it, nope, something happened. We can't certify this and blah, blah, blah. And then Mike Johnson refuses to see certain, um, certain
Members of
members
Congress,
elected.
yeah,
Yeah.
which
Well,
happened last year in 2025. How
yeah.
many? It was about. I want to say it was over 90 days before she was able to be sent because Mike Johnson. But going back over there last week, and I do want to touch upon this. Last week, you brought us through 30,000 ballot challenges and one in Georgia district with 63,000 challenges in Michigan in a race that was decided by 80,000. And going back to Nebraska, well, Nebraska is the one that has lost its case in court. I believe Michigan won its case in court.
Yeah,
Nebraska lost, Michigan won, but the Justice Department has sued an additional 20 other states. And that actually brings us, yeah, so that actually brings us forward to that thorough line to Project 2025, because it was within Project 2025 that states that elections should be run nationally.
it's ridiculous. You read my post I
I
did earlier, my emails
I
to
did, and I
the
put it
attorney
out there.
general?
Yes, and I
Um,
put it out there for others to follow your lead who, live in Michigan. So
yep.
I did put it out there. And so we really need to kind of think about who this is benefiting, you know,
Not me.
because
Not you.
it's not benefiting me, but it's benefiting those that we never see. It's benefiting those that we even never hear about. So
Um,
it's not benefiting us US citizens.
nope, I'll
There's
give you
this
an
whole
example.
debate now about being called Americans, but that's a whole nother
Yep.
thing.
Every area has one, okay? Here where I live in Michigan, the greater West Michigan area, it's the DeVos family. Yes, that DeVos, Betsy DeVos, right?
Yes.
They're worth about $5 billion, and their name is everywhere. Believe me, DeVos Children's Hospital, DeVos Hall, it's everywhere. And now, like with the files, what's his name? Wesley, the guy down there in Ohio, or Wexner, I think his last name is. He was a former CEO of Victoria's Secret or something. So we have this guy. He's worth about the same. $5 billion in Ohio. Every state has one of those, prominent families that are, billionaires that are quiet people that you don't see on the news every day, like Trump and all that. And these are the people that it's benefiting. Because I did a post and I said one of the pictures from the file showed Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, presumably Jeffrey Epstein took the photograph, and a couple other billionaires. And I said, the men in this room, they could end poverty, homelessness, and hunger, and all still be billionaires. They choose not to.
Choose not to.
It's disgusting. I'd probably, if I was a billionaire, I'd be broke. I just, I couldn't.
But you want to hear something? As a billionaire, it's hard to become broke.
True.
No, and so I don't understand it. I
People
don't
don't
understand.
comprehend because it's thrown like nothing. Oh, no, he's only worth 5 billion, 10 billion. Elon Musk,
Is on his
whatever,
way becoming
hundreds of billion.
is on his way to becoming a trillionaire based on our
Yeah.
hard work.
Let me put it
That
this way, so people understand it. When you think about it, there was this kid that did this video, and he's like, if you were to count to one from starting at 1, 2, 3, 4, to count to a billion, you figured it out by one every second, it would take you like 30 years or some shit to get there. That's 999,999,999, then 1 billion. That is, I mean, that kind of money, that kind of greed, and it's sickening to me. It's sickening, and not because, look, do I want to be rich? Sure. Will
well,
I ever be rich? Probably not.
there is a
But
study, if it's somebody recalls, if anybody who's listening right now, was a study, and it actually went over what the billionaires were worth back in 2009 to what they're worth today. And some just became billionaires, these mega billionaires during this particular time period. How do you go from $9 billion to $255 billion?
a manufactured market crisis.
How do you go? So the reality is something took place between 2009 to where we are today to allow that sort of wealth, as
I already know
well.
it. I know the
y-
answer, and I mean, it's we had the market crash, the housing crash, and that's why people, you know, like myself, believe this son of a bitch is trying to purposely crash the economy because that's after that market crash when Obama rebuilt it. That's when Trump and Trump Inc. made their most money was
Yeah.
during that rebuild, right? So if the economy crashes again, that brings everything down low. And this time they have the cash on hand to buy even more of it up.
Yeah, through this cryptocurrency. And I still don't understand cryptocurrency. So,
Oh, it
I,
crashed. Crypto bros are pissed. Crypto
you know,
bros are pissed at Trump.
yeah, I don't get cryptocurrency. So I'm sorry, everyone. That's beyond my head. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. But with that being said, that does remind me and brings me, and I'm sorry, I'm digressing. What did you think of Pam Bundy? About this whole thing about the market doing great. We shouldn't be looking at Epstein when the market is so terrific.
I am yesterday after watching that, I was so disgusted, embarrassed, and angry. The secondhand embarrassment of those interactions that she had, like asking a simple question, from one of the representatives, like, how many people have you indicted? And it turns it, don't you tell me what to do. Don't you do it. And it's just like,
That whole
are you
indignation.
kidding me right now? Are you she did and I mean, really, to Jamie Raskin, you ain't even a real lawyer. You've washed up attorney, washed up lawyer. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is like fucking grade
But
school."
there is this perfect picture of her not even able to look at the victims. She's just,
No, no, you're right, I know. No, oh my god.
and I was just floored. And then look at all the great Trump is doing. Look at our market. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you're talking to the Congress members because you're sure as hell not talking to us common American people who can give two fucks about.
Right. And that's what, the stock market is not the economy. There's this
No,
great study. If you go and you go to the Google machine and you type in 520 Democrat counties, the first study that should come up is from Brookings. They did a study and it goes back to 2016, 2020, and 2024. In 2020, after Joe Biden won the election, the study shows that of the 520 counties that voted for Joe Biden, those are 520 Democrat counties, blue voting counties. They are responsible. And mind you, we have over 3,000 counties in this country. They are responsible for 71% of the GDP, gross domestic product. 520 counties. And the rest of them, the 2,000, 2,500 plus counties, they were only responsible for 29% of the GDP of the economy. So this argument that they always try to, well, we're the silent majority, or pulling ourselves up by the bootstraps, and that study absolutely throws all of them under the bus because they are not a contributing factor to the United States economy.
no, they're
They are not.
not. They are not. And I wrote this whole thing about Musk and AI and about how AI needs to be more instrumental and more used. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so you're going to have AI making all these decisions for us. Who's going to buy? Who's going to buy anything? Where's the consumerism?
Do you remember the movie
Because we're not going to have any money to buy anything.
I, Robot? Would
Yes, yes, I do.
say that movie was, technologically speaking, that movie was pretty on track. I don't remember what year it took place in, but that's where we're going to end up. It's going to be, like China already has factories that are fully automated. There's like two, three people that run the entire factory. There's no lights in it because robots don't need lights.
But they have a flourishing economy.
Yes, they
So,
do, because
so
our own government does a very good job of scaring the public when they consistently are like the Communist Chinese Party, the Communist Chinese Party. That's another installed propaganda in your mind. And I'm not saying that the Chinese government is good or bad. I don't know enough about the government. I don't really care. I'm looking at people, Americans that live over there. I'm looking at, everything else in China. Technologically, they're kicking our ass.
Oh, yeah.
And they take care of their cit. Do they have a bad track record? Yeah. But now, if you go there now, like I seen the video of
Yeah,
this
there's
American
been a lot of
citizen.
changes. There have been quite a few changes within China, and they're kicking our ass.
Yeah,
Military,
Japan is too,
yeah.
because
S
they put in so much care. I mean, you have kindergartners in Japan that go to school by themselves, get on the train by themselves. I mean, these are 5 and 6 year olds.
Yeah,
Would
but
you ever
it's
see that in the
us.
United States? Go get on a hell? No, you won't.
No, we got a bunch of pedophiles out there kidnapping children and making them sex slaves.
Turns out you shouldn't have been scared of the white ice cream truck. Huh,
Yeah,
be scared of the guy who owns it.
correct, correct. So I there's just so much, yeah, and originally I was gonna begin with, Pam Bundy. Bundy, I called her Bundy.
He's an absolute Jamie
Was
Raskin, no,
was
what
that a
Representative Lou,
Freudian
I think.
slip or something? So, I uh, I was just floored. Was she groomed? I'm thinking apparently she was in the Epstein files. I don't get it.
She was. I mean, this goes back to Florida. You know, it's the same thing with. I'm thinking to myself, where's Marjorie Taylor Greene when we need her? And I hate to say that, but I don't. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene was just dumb, easily manipulated, and she was capable of learning. And the longer she was there, the more she learned. She still has her loyalty to being a Republican, but now she's like, whoa, no way. And now you have Lauren Boebert that came out after reading some of the files. There's a video of her coming out, and she's like, nope, nope, nope. You could tell, and that's what it's going to take is this, you know, people that are, I would consider a nemesis on the Republican side, that are younger, that are not going to be involved in that. There's no way their names are going to be in it, but these are the ones that are coming out, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert are saying nope, but Nancy Mace is, and she's being awfully, I don't know, she's, I don't know what way she's going with this. I mean, she's posting about, Republicans and pedophiles that have been arrested, and this guy who worked for ICE, and he was the one that cleared people to get their class. Can you work for ICE? He did their background check and everything, and he was just arrested in Minneapolis for, guess what? Soliciting uh minors or some shit like that. Whoever Sophia is,
Are
I
you
followed you, and I cannot get rid of that now. I don't know why.
okay?
It's
Well,
there.
I just I'm pausing just for a moment because it was a thought that went in my head and just went
It
out of
happens.
the way.
All right. It does all the time.
It's a thought that just went there and it went to the other side, and I'm trying to get it back up here. You know, I think part of I'm gonna bring it back because one of the things is we spoke about is how chaos isn't really chaos, but coordination. And here we are, and this brings me to my point. Here we are, we're talking about pedophiles. We're talking about this taking place way up high. We're talking about h- how this is continues on here in the United States. And but there has been no fucking consequences.
Only in the United
Abs-
States of America.
Absolutely zero. We still have an illegitimate president. We still have a per a 34-time felon as president. We still have a Russian asset as president.
Yep.
We still are in this, and it doesn't with the Congress having all these hearings, it's all performance. I mean, do you think Pam is actually gonna be fired?
No. I think my buddy Hawk said it
Yes,
best.
there have been
He said,
consequences, and I was gonna go into that. The only place that there's been consequences for the Epstein files,
Ghislaine Maxwell.
it that as well as in Europe. In
Yeah.
Europe, France is going to town right now.
Yep.
Vive la France! You
Right.
know, they're going to town. They're going after Musk with everything.
Yep. And they should. They're showing people, this is how you do it. There's no um there's no pussyfooting around it. They're going to go after them. Um.
Um, Kings or people associated with the royalty are being removed,
Yep.
you know, in other countries. Things are happening because of the Epstein files. What's happening here? How
This is
dare us
this
question Pam's integrity? How dare us say,
integrity. Okay. She's
so I'm just saying that, yeah, you're becoming overwhelmed. I have been overwhelmed for weeks now. You know, I finally was able to write something 2 days ago about a
Mhm.
halftime show. At least I was able to
I'm
write.
just like, you know what? Let's get it over with. I've got that gut feeling, man. Something is happening. Something is coming. Something is going to collapse everything. Everything. I don't know what that is. I've had the feeling for a little bit of time, and it's just getting more prominent. Reading more and more and more stuff that comes out, I'm like, something. It's not a something's got to give moment. It's that something is going to bring the entire established Washington D.C. to its knees. I mean, it has to for one, and like my buddy Hawk yesterday, he said it best. He said, if you're up there going after Pam Bondi and you're, a Democratic elected official and you're still taking APAC funds, I don't believe a word you fucking said. I do not believe your fucking performance. Don't sit up there and be like, "Well, with Pam Bondi for
Bundy.
while you're still collecting money from fucking Israel.
Yeah.
And don't come at me with, oh, it's American money because it's not.
Uh, I yeah, well, you know what they say about depression. Depression is actually anger inward.
Yeah, I'm not. I have never. I could say this. I've never, and I think it's because just me, my mindset. I've never been depressed. I've been anxious. I've had anxiety. I like my life, no matter how good or bad it is. I like living, and I've never, experienced a moment where I've been so clinically down and out or clinically depressed in my life. Even during the bad times, and I've had some bad times in my life. I've struggled beyond some people's comprehension
I
to get where
think
we.
I think just the points that we're making right now, that it's hard for people to understand. It isn't. We're not coming at this with Pollyann lenses on.
No.
But I do wanna express one thing. I'm not cynical either. I do believe in action. I do believe that our vote, if they're actually counted correctly, can work. I do believe in a variety of ways to start moving, having a variety of pressure points, and I express those pressure points previously on another podcast as being initiated at the state level. So I'm going to wrap us back around to your letter.
Yep.
Jason has taken a step to write his attorney general to talk about some of the
And the governor
irregularities, right?
and the secretary of state. I wrote all three of them.
Right, to talk about some of the irregularities of the 2024 election, you know, and just asking simple questions. How can you explain these results? You know, give us an answer.
My whole philosophy behind that was, okay, I put in there, basically, don't don't come at me with free and fair, safe and secure. I don't wanna hear it, okay, number 1. Number 2, um, if it's really truly free and fair, safe and secure, then what's the big deal on taking a couple of these precincts and opening them up, and let's count them just to be sure. If we're all crazy and they don't know what they're doing, the ETA is stupid, all this stuff, let's open them up and let's count 'em. Let's be sure.
If the
There's n
CVRs are actually inaccurate, I don't know how they're gonna explain that one. So, but with being said, I just think that I do believe in voting. However, what the Trump regime is doing is trying to nationalize and gain control of our Social Security numbers, of our voter data, of what we're doing. By trying to do that, the more they try to do that, then it becomes our safety net begins to feel unsecure. And when our safety net begins to feel unsecure, the vote becomes even more unstable.
Yep, it
And
becomes Venezuela.
correct. And by the way, which is something that Jason did mention in his letter, he mentioned how, and we spoke about this a few podcasts ago, is that Venezuela is actually a mirror image to the 2024 election that took place here.
Using the same methods. They applied the same methods, and a few weeks ago, there were senators speaking on the Senate floor, Republicans and Democrats, and they all agreed. They all said, "Yep, he's an illegitimate president. We've seen the data. We know that, but that doesn't mean we get to go in a sovereign nation and kidnap somebody." That was the point of it. And I said, "You can sit there and say that he's an illegitimate president because of this data with these methods applied, but when they're applied to the United States election and they are damn near a mirror image, oh no, that can't happen. That this is the United States."
Yes, Doge
Yep, that
has
don't.
all of our private information, and has more than just our private information. And Musk has never testified to that fact.
Nope.
And, we are just basically congratulating Musk for all the great that he's done, and the reality, no. So, yeah, basically, w by discussing, Social Security, what's going on with Social Security, by discussing
Right.
Project by discussing Project 2025, as well as discussing what's going on a national level in regards to controlling our election. Um, basically, um, w- the system is rigged by design.
Yep. The only
What
the one way you're gonna know for sure is, I kinda hope if there's enough pressure applied, we'll say, like, to Michigan, right? And they look at this and there's enough people that write in, they have concerns, and I hope they kinda do it quietly, right? Or even if they don't do it quietly, what you're gonna find, and this is how you're gonna know 100, even though I know, that's me, is you'll see the Trump administration come out and start fighting this. Like, this is ridiculous. I won bigly. Everybody knows that. They're going to come out and they're going to fight it, which is why I kind of hope, okay, they go to these places and they just do it quietly. They get the people. Let's do a little hand recount of two or three of the precincts. Let's compare them with the numbers, with the data from the ETA, and let's see if it's real. Let's see if the numbers match or if they don't in this case.
Now, for people who don't know, I just wanna, mention that there is a timeline, by the way. There
The
is a
end of
22, month, period that the states must hold on to these ballots in order for a hand recount to take place, and that's 22 months, and that 22 months is actually up in September 2026, and so
Yep.
there is a reason why we have been pushing for the recount of 2024. I believe there is also a petition out there that I know there's a petition out there that was, sponsored by This Will Hold, for recounting, Wisconsin, and I believe they actually added, Michigan in it.
I hope so.
So think I recall seeing Michigan in it. They need 5,000. The last time I looked at it, it was only at
Thank
about right. It was only at 1,900. Now, I haven't looked at it in over a week, but anybody could sign that petition to, demand a recount for 2024. 2 states in which it's possible is Wisconsin as well as Michigan, to my knowledge. So I do think that's out there. Also, I just read, and I'm surprised it got past my radar, but I also read a more recent report about Minnesota. There were some irregularities going on in Minnesota. Now, I cannot give you details about that, even though they went blue. But the reality is that not only did these irregularities take place in the swing states, they were desperately trying to get Minnesota red as well. And some of the irregularities did take place within Minnesota, and that bears mentioning as well. And I will continue to stand by Minnesota. I appreciate everything that the citizens are doing at getting out there. I know it's hard times, but we are supporting you here in California. We're doing our own protests here. We've had some big ones, and the big ones have been coming from the younger generation.
Yep.
So that has been terrific over here in San Francisco. Right now, on a more local front, San Francisco is having a teacher strike. Um, and I stand behind this teacher strike. So things are happening.
I hope they succeed.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I really hope so too.
I just want people to remember that um, there are people out there that's like, that was too big of a task. There's no way it could have been done. Uh,
Yes, I will
here's
post.
my argument. It's not too big of a task. The Trump always knew he was going to run again after 2020. He knew immediately. They had 4 years, and this is more than just about what um, irregularities were found, like in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. Okay, this is it's a massive, push and operation from Trump and his, bootlickers. We're talking about the irregularities. Um, Possibly finding the back door through the tabulation machine. But we're also talking about using laws in every state, like challenging ballots. Like my state, had 63,000 mail in ballots. That doesn't include same day ballots. Georgia, the lady that challenged over 30,000 ballots herself. The push before the election, Trump was sending out texts, join my election integrity poll watching team, become a poll watcher. And that's what this push was. It was a massive operation along several fronts. I- He won my state, and I think said this last week, by 80,150 votes in there. There was 63,000 challenged mail-in ballots that were not counted.
Yeah,
How many were challenged on the same day? You
have
see,
no
plus the irregularities. So, it's a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. And
well,
all of that hurt Kamala Harris in the election.
and just to give people who've just joined some context here, Michigan has always voted blue.
George
It's
H.W. Bush was the last Republican that won Michigan's electoral votes. The first,
a and so how did Michigan think about this, how did Michigan turn red? in 2024.
I'm still questioning 2016.
Yeah.
How did the you go
Well,
George
there is
H.W. Bush,
some
Clinton? Clinton
since
won it
we
both times.
since
Uh,
we can't recount, and even though Trump is trying to recount 2020, which makes no sense to me, but nonetheless, since we can't recount 2016, I do believe that the elections, the Republicans have only won by rigging the elections.
yep,
And I'm putting it out there, and you can laugh, you can do it didn't Musk. Yes, you're right. Musk was a contributing factor.
yep,
And I do want to kind of end it with this thought. You don't have to seize ballot boxes to influence elections. All you have to do is change enforcement, data flow, and oversight structures around them.
yep. And if y'all get a chance to go read it, I just posted it today, the email that I sent. If you want to copy and paste it and send it to, go find the email addresses. They're publicly available for, especially if you live in Michigan, for the governor of Michigan, the attorney general of Michigan. You want to use it for Wisconsin if you live there. Shapiro, I think, in Pennsylvania is a lost cause, but, we'll see what happens with that court case. Yeah,
I don't,
so,
it's not going to happen. I, and it was the epicenter. It was the epicenter. When I wrote about it, it's the epicenter. There was so much going on in Pennsylvania and so much for me to just see publicly.
yep, it's
S
ridiculous.
so yeah, it's not going to happen. But I really encourage everybody to sign this petition. It's open to everybody. Yeah, I say will be used to suppress vote, and let's discuss a little bit more about that next week. We'll discuss suppression tactics next week, and perhaps ICE being used. Um, some of the rationale that reason why Trump is trying to make everything go national, but I think it really goes down to controlling the vote.
Yeah.
So,
Don't
thank you
let
for
people tell you that, you know, and this is my whole point, like the Constitution, he can't. It's it's against the Constitution. It's against the Constitution. That return argument from people, those are the people, in my opinion, that are just fucking delusional. That live in this fantasy land that they believe that that little piece of paper is going to save us. That the president of the United States actually gives a shit what the Constitution says because he doesn't. He's trying to turn this place into state controlled everything, just like Russia.
well, I'm of the opinion we need to lock him up and seize all of his assets and everything that he's taken from the United States citizens and public.
Yep.
So, seize it all, confiscate it all,
Yep.
bankrupt him and his children and the full frickin' regime. So,
God,
that's
that
where
would be that would be the
and
icing on the cake.
What
Yep.
is what is that
Oh,
that that makes me happy.
yep.
You
I mean
know?
I mean every
Every
dollar, all the way
I
from
mean,
Jared Kushner,
a
Ivanka Trump. Up.
absolutely. Oh, Jared Kushner should be tried for treason.
Yep.
So, we're talking about that's where I stand. I appreciate everyone joining us. Happy early birthday, Jason.
Yeah, my birthday today.
Jason's birthday. He's a Valentine's boy, so happy early birthday.
Thank you.
And thank you for everyone for joining us. This has been our biggest one. Join us next week.
2 weeks in a row. I will be on time next week. I'm sorry. I've had a very trying morning.
It's okay. I didn't handle it the same way as I handled it last week.
It's all good.
Okay. Everyone take care. Be safe out there and look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.
Bye.